Good morning. I am Robert Whirley, CEO of Arterica. I'm excited to share with you today our novel extravascular approach to closing large bore femoral access, such as required after structural heart procedures and aortic repair procedures. We founded Arterica to reduce the high complication rate and the irregular procedure times in a very substantial market. The standard of care today in this space is a first-generation technology that data shows has complication rates exceeding 25%. More than 1.2 million of these procedures are done each year that require large bore closure. They fall into three main categories: transcatheter aortic valve replacements, or TAVRs, aortic stent grafting, so-called EVAR or TVAR, or mechanical circulatory support, like the Abiomed Impella pumps and others. The Arterica closure device is a novel extravascular closure that leaves nothing behind in the vessel, and we say burns no bridges, so we leave all options available to the physician. We've completed a first-in-human clinical study. We got really very good results. Safety and performance were clear, 100% technical success. We had no late complications. The technology is organic, developed inside Arterica. We have 6 issued U.S. patents with a broad range of claims. We have 1 each in Japan and China and a range of others pending. This is an FDA Class 3 device, but with very reasonable regulatory requirements and a clear path. The company's been capital efficient. We've got $13 million in the company to date. Of that, about $10 million comes from J&J. We're now raising a $10 million Series B to advance our OUS clinical portfolio and to get an FDA pivotal IDE. We have a strong team around the company. My background, I've been a cardiovascular entrepreneur for about 25 years. I'm also board chairman at Nectero Medical, which is in phase 3 trials with a drug. Prior to this, I co-founded a company, Vascular, in the aortic stent graft space, and we ultimately took that to an IPO in 2014. My co-founder, Dr. Thomas Larsson, is a KOL vascular surgeon in Sweden and is a real pioneer in the technology underlying the Arterica device. We have Thorsten Cease on our board. Thorsten was the inventor of the Abiomed Impella. He's now an exec VP at J&J. And on our medical advisory board, we have Dr. Krazier. Dr. Krazier's been co-PI on the pivotal trials for both of the commercial large bore closure devices currently in use in the US. So we're really happy to have such a good team around the company. Surprisingly, closing large bore access holes is challenging today. Data shows the market-leading device has inconsistent results with very high complication rates. The choice closure trials of 500-patient RCT showed serious complications of 12 to 19%. Other data has shown inconsistent procedure times. And when a 10-minute procedure takes an hour, that's when we end up with patients stacked up in the hall outside the cath lab or the OR. We end up with staff on overtime. That's bad for the patient. It's bad for the provider. It's bad for the economics in the healthcare system. We think we can do better. This shows the market opportunity. It's a very substantial market opportunity, about $1 billion in the large bore space in the 5-year time frame. The gray bars show the current procedure volumes. The red bars show the 5-year forecast. The transcatheter valves, or so-called TAVR procedures, growing at about 10% a year. The aortic procedures, large market today, and continuing to grow. Mechanical circulatory support, not a huge market today, but growing very, very fast at 20% CAGR. That bar will be far out to the right in just a few years. Adjacent to the large bore space is the mid-bore space, the so-called 10 to 14 French devices. And those devices have many of the same complication challenges that I've been talking about for large bore. We've shown the Arterica technology effectively addresses that, and we aim to provide a unified solution across that spectrum. Combined together, the mid-bore market and the large bore market, the 5-year data projects about a $2 billion combined opportunity. So a very substantial opportunity in terms of a total addressable market and in terms of an ability to make an impact on patient care. Another dimension to the market was shown by Abiomed here in 2022. They talked about the path to growing their role in the mechanical circulatory support space. And the key aspect was increasing emphasis on improving access and closure. This is simply using a moderately priced, robust closure device to drive adoption of a very high ASP technology device. So that's another market angle that is proven to be significant, and that's the short answer as to why Abiomed and J&J have supported the company with over $10 million thus far. Here's a little video to show you conceptually how our device works with an extravascular closure. We start after the index procedure is complete. You can see the vessel, the fascia layer that we use. The device comes in over the guide wire. We deploy a foot seated against the wall of the artery, then deploy 4 anchors through that fascia, but not through the artery wall. Tension sutures to wrap that patient's tissue around the hole, close it, lock the sutures in place, cut the sutures, the device comes out, and then you pull the guide wire when you have hemostasis. So pretty straightforward procedure all in all. This chart just shows the competitive landscape. The market-leading device shown on the far left uses an arterial suture mechanism. It relies on penetrating the wall of the femoral artery in order to get closure. And when patients have calcification or atherosclerosis, that penetration is irregular and can the primary cause of device failures with that technology. The other technologies here all leave something behind inside the vessel and also struggle clinically when a patient has atherosclerosis. So the Arterica approach of leaving nothing inside the vessel and of leaving a functional guide wire in place so the physician has all options to them are highly differentiated across the landscape. We've really focused in developing the device on 2 key factors that drive adoption: versatility, can you treat most patients, and ease of use. Our first in-human study did 13 cases. We had 13 successful closures, all of large bore access. 11 of those were almost immediate hemostasis. We had 2 that used some additional time for some manual compression. Those were learning curve cases. In one case, we inadvertently hit the skin. The other, we didn't get the device positioned right. The other 11 cases went very, very smoothly. We brought those patients back for 30-day follow-up, got CT scans, and showed no excess site stenoses, no hematomas. All in all, a very, very clean study. In fact, you can see in this image here, this is a patient on post-op day 1 after a 17 French access that has just a very minor superficial bruising, but that's really an excellent access site. We're now raising a $10 million Series B, and that set of funds will be used to expand our OUS clinical portfolio to add an additional 50 patients, as well as to complete the FDA testing and get the FDA pivotal IDE. After that, that'll be followed by a $15 million Series C, or second tranche of a Series B, for the FDA pivotal study. We see 3 exit paths for Arterica. One, the global strategics with large bore products in the market today. I think you all would recognize the list of companies there. The second targets with strategic leverage that can use a modest price device to drive adoption of a high value device. And number 3, the mid-market suppliers, companies like Marriott, Haemonetics, Fresenius. Haemonetics, for example, acquired Cardiva for $510 million about 3 years ago, and they've built a very nice business in small bore vascular closure. I'm Robert Whirley, CEO of Arterica. Be happy to connect with anybody afterwards if you'd like to learn more. Thank you.